You've tuned in to Chip Grooves Radio with Mike, John, and Jesse. Oh, well, it is another day, gentlemen. Another day, another week of gaming and gaming music. How are you gentlemen doing tonight?
Do pretty well. Hanging in there, you know?
Yeah, I'm doing great.
We have a new addition to the podcast, and I would like to officially welcome Jesse to the show. This is his first episode under the wing of Magus Media Productions. So how are you, sir?
I'm doing very well. Thank you very much. And thanks both to you and John for inviting me along. It was unexpected and feels pretty good, I got to say.
Well, we were impressed.
Yeah, welcome.
We were impressed with your...
Yeah, we talked to the shareholders, the board. We
moved some money around. We found a room for a new employee. So
nice.
Welcome to hell. But
did you guys figure out like what my stipend is going to be, or
whatever it is times 0. So
okay,
yeah,
all right, fair enough. I guess I'll crack this beer now then.
That's top tier.
There it is.
No, drinking on the job.
Yeah, I know.
Do we discuss talking about maybe every week talking about what games we're currently playing, if any? And yeah, Jesse, since you're new here, what have you been playing? I know you spoke briefly about Final Fantasy 16. Yeah. Is that the only game you're playing right now?
So I've been kind of making a concerted effort over the last 6 months or so to not playing little bits of a bunch of different games at the same time and actually getting through some of the absolutely revolting backlog that I'm sure we all have as gamers.
Oh, yes.
So I've been kind of like picking a game and then going at it all the way until it's finished and then moving on to the next one. So for me, lately, that's been Final Fantasy 16. I actually finished the first playthrough and I started the New Game Plus playthrough in Final Fantasy mode, which is like the hardest play mode. And as of this morning, I am now officially in Endgame. So very cool. And right before we recorded, I took my first stab at the first boss of the first DLC, or the last boss of the first DLC, who I won't spoil for anybody who hasn't gotten that far yet. But I beat him on the first try, so that was pretty cool. And I was only 5 minutes late to the podcast. How about that?
First day, and you're already late.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I got to set the precedent.
It's all right.
Yeah, after I wrap this up, which is probably going to be this weekend, my plan is to finish up the solo campaign for Homeworld 3, which I've been very excited to play, and has been pretty decent so far. Well, I save my hot takes for another day, perhaps, but yeah, pretty good.
I haven't picked that up yet. I mean, I played the original and Homeworld 2.
Yeah, I
played the demo, was not super happy, and I know a lot of people weren't. Of like the camera controls and all that. I'm tentative that I'm actually going to pick it up and play it. I probably will, but I feel like it. I don't know. It seems
at a moment it's a no. It sounds like.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm willing to shell out the money. Maybe if it goes on sale or something. But yeah. I mean, currently I've been playing. I picked up Songs of Conquest, which is like a Heroes of Might and Magic 3 not clone, but like, a new take on it.
Yeah.
With pretty cool pixel art and all that. And
I was just thinking,
sweet.
Yeah, it's
that's so weird.
Yeah.
Last night I was just thinking they should come out with a new Heroes of Might and Magic.
It's not the same. I'm sure it's not the same developers or anything, and it's its own story and all that. But it has the bones of Heroes of Might and Magic for sure. And yeah, so far it's pretty fun. It's pretty challenging for the campaign so far. So you get like 4 different campaigns of the different factions, and I think they're coming out with DLC.
Nice.
At some point.
Is that Steam only, or is it multi-platform?
Good question. I don't know. I only have it on PC, but yeah, I'm not sure if it's on any other platforms.
Jesse, quick question for you: having played Homeworld 3, you don't have to give anything away yet.
Sure.
But those issues John was talking about, the camera issues, it kind of reviewed poorly in beta. So have those things been fixed or?
Yeah. Actually,
Okay.
props to the developers, because after they released the demo, they got a lot of negative feedback, mostly from players who had been fans of the series and found that they had changed the movement and camera controls in ways that just didn't really jive with what people were accustomed to. I actually, when I started, I kind of made the commitment to at least doing a few missions with the updated controls, because just I wanted to see if it would make it easier to, just navigate the map and just do normal stuff in 3D space. Quite frankly, I haven't really found a significant difference between them now that I've gotten used to it.
Yeah.
So, but good on the developers, because after they got that feedback, they immediately came out with like a press release and said, before launch, you will have the option to use either classic controls or modern controls. And it's just a toggle that you can switch between anytime you want. So good on them for making that change in short order.
Awesome. John, do you have your answer?
Yeah, I have my answer. Yeah, I knew that they had taken that criticism to heart and had resolved at least some of that. It mainly revolves around maybe this. I don't really know what my hangups are, to be quite honest about it. It's just it's another campaign game that will take a lot of time, and I don't know. I need to also fill out or complete some of my backlog. I actually started playing the game that we're talking about today a little bit more, because I hadn't played it a ton for a long time, and it was one of the better Total War series. But yeah,
absolutely. I have been playing still, I should say. Every couple months I'll come back to Fallout 76. I've been with it pretty much since beginning, but my buddy Joe and I really have stuck with it. So I'm on my cycle of every couple months I'll come back to it for a little bit. And they are coming out with an expansion sometime this month. It's supposed to actually expand the map substantially. So I'm excited for that. So I'm kind of preparing for that. But yeah, it's been a blast. I made a terrible mistake, because you can build camps. You can build your own little home base in that game, and they give you a few slots to kind of try different camps out, but you can only toggle one at a time. And like an idiot, I accidentally placed a new camp and deleted my cliffside cabin that I spent so long designing. And so now I have to start that over again. So I wanted to jump out a window. I texted Joe immediately. I'm like, I'm such a moron. But so I've been playing that recently. I've got a good start on a new base, and I'm having a good time.
That's kind of disappointing that they don't have a big red warning button that says you're about to delete your camp.
It says every time you go to place a camp or a new location, it says, do you want to do this? And I was thinking I had my other camp toggled.
Yeah.
Which I did not. So
oops.
Oh, well.
I saw that news article and I sent it to you about Dawn of War Ragnarok coming out on, what was it, PC, right? Mm-hmm. And that you have to have a PSN account to play, and it is a single player game that is not on PlayStation.
Right.
For that.
It's so
what
stupid.
the fuck?
They are just kicking themselves in the crotch every chance they get.
Well, they want those sweet emails, those sweet logins to sell you crap with, It's pretty bad.
I mean, like, just by requiring that, there's like a ton of countries that you can't get PSN access in. So like, you just can't sell to as many people. And it's a single player game.
Yeah.
Single player for one person.
But you have to log in. You have to log in.
Well, they still haven't rectified the issue with Helldivers that had sold in those countries, and then that was pulled from the Steam library, but they still bought the game or whatever, but couldn't play it because they didn't have PSN accounts. It's
brutal. So obnoxious, man.
Mm-hmm.
So brutal.
I don't know why they insist on doing that. It's like they're just trying to build some sort of false subscriber base for people who don't actually play PlayStation games. They just wait for it to come out on Steam.
Right.
We need the numbers. Well, today's episode is about, how do you pronounce this? Is it Total War Shogun 2 or Shogun 2 Total War?
That's a very interesting question, and it's a contentious one, I think, within the Total War
contested,
community.
yes.
Because originally the Total War games were Shogun Total War, Rome Total War, Medieval Total War, Medieval 2 Total War. And then for whatever reason, probably because they wanted it all to be under the same in the same area on your Steam library, they changed it to be Total War Shogun 2, Total War Warhammer, Total War. So Total War was the game, and then the qualifier was the era, I guess. But it was kind of a silly thing because it just seemed like Shogun Total War, Shogun 2 Total War is fine. I don't know why it needs to be Total War Shogun 2. It was kind of silly, but yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, it is a wonderful soundtrack by Jeff Van Dyck.
Mm-hmm.
And John, this was your pick, so give us a little bit of a history for it.
Well, yeah, Jeff had done the soundtrack for all of the Total War games up until Shogun 2, and then it was taken over by somebody else after that. But he had won a BAFTA for the Warlord, the original Shogun Total War Warlord Edition, which was the DLC or expansion. It's not really DLC at the time. Expansion for Shogun. And then had also won it for Rome Total War. It's an amazing soundtrack that uses, he composed the entire soundtrack. And from what I read, the original Shogun Total War soundtrack, he had hired Japanese musicians to play traditional Japanese instruments for his MIDI track to be able to create more authentic songs. And then I think just as time went on, he upped his game, and I think Shogun 2 is probably one of the best versions of Total War out there. I to be honest, I haven't really played much of the Warhammer Total Wars. Even though I played Warhammer and I played Total War, I don't know what it is. It just didn't click with me. I always loved the Shogun. I remember vividly in the 2000 or probably in 2000 probably in like a PC Gamer seeing the original article about Shogun Total War, the original Shogun Total War, and thinking this was the perfect game. This was the game that spoke to me at all levels. And it was. I mean, I played Shogun religiously for a long time. I even made AMVs, the anime music video type things.
Oh, nice.
Me and my sister did that on Windows Movie Maker using the soundtrack and some of the videos, because when you had ninjas go to assassinate people or whatever, you get these little video pop-ups of the ninja, whether or not they succeeded or not. So we'd use those and cut them in. So yeah, this was a big deal back in the day, and Shogun 2 was definitely a step up, especially music wise. I mean, it's a beautiful soundtrack.
I have never played a Total War game, and that PC Magazine article you're talking about, I remember seeing the ad for the cover of the original Total War Shogun, and yeah, it looked really cool then. And then when we started preparing for the review of this one, I finally dove into Total War a little bit, and wow, I was kind of blown away by how it's put together and just how grand those battles can get.
Yeah, I mean, I loved when I played Warhammer, the regimental combat, and it was just that at in a computer game, which isn't something you had really ever seen before in a PC in a real time strategy game.
At its heart, I would say the Total War game is obviously about battle, but I was very surprised by how much Van Dyck really relies on music that feels deeper and more intricate than just songs about the flurry of battle. I thought that was very interesting and very cool.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's you'd think exactly what you were saying. Like, you're getting into a game called Total War, that it's going to be like 22 tracks on the soundtrack and 18 if we're going to be battle themes, and that's not at all, not at all the way that it plays out. No.
Yeah, the original, it was interesting. The original Total War, like this soundtrack, all of the track names have pretty thematic names for them. But the original Total War, the track names were very direct. It was Battle 1, Battle 2, Battle 3, Tense 1, Tense 2, Tense 3. And I think he still had the same approach to it, where you have these sprinkled in, you have these bombastic battle songs with a lot of heavy drums and that kind of thing, fast and heavy drums. But then you have these very beautiful campaign map tracks, which are more background music, more thematic and background music. And then you have the tense music where you have formed up your battle lines and you're approaching each other. You don't know exactly where your enemy is. And you have this tense music that plays that kind of, you can cut the tension of that battle with a knife. And right before your lines, smash together and the real battle music starts to play, you get that, that hair on the back of your neck standing up kind of feeling, wondering if there's, ninjas in the forest that are about to ambush you or whatever.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of that tension, that fear of not knowing where your enemy is, I really felt that with Heavy Bune. It's a very dark track, and I like it because it has space to it. There's implications behind it. It has a sharp and foreboding nature to it, which really just talks about that approach to battle, that not knowing where your enemy is. And with each low horn sounding like a war cry from the distance, you're listening and you're reminded to just stay alert while that rolling deep drum is playing. It's really cool. It's not a terribly long track, but it's a very mood-setting piece. And I think it could, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, I think it could be used in just about any tabletop RPG where there is danger.
For sure. Yeah, this whole soundtrack is rife to play for your Legends of Five Rings role-playing group when you're playing that game. This is the perfect soundtrack for it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this song, it incites this like sense of foreboding. Like it's very atmospheric. It's a little breathy at points. But it just, there's this air of menace around the song the whole way through. And to your point, it is a fairly short song, but it definitely sets the mood and it lets you know that danger is afoot. And that's the thing that it really stood out to me the most as.
And that sense of space is just extremely powerful. It really makes the player feel small and that everything could turn at a moment's notice.
Yeah.
So very good composing there. But honestly, watching gameplay of this game while I was prepping for it, I think I was struck by how the music affected my mood during battles, because it was just amazing to watch a large-scale battle and have somewhat relaxed music playing that sort of wafts in and out of tense and threatening. Like, it wasn't always, heavy drums, thematic and blaring horns. It was kind of calm, but there was something special about watching a line of troops. They would line up and then they would fire arrows and you would hear just this faint flute in the in the music. It sounded very epic. And it's just like, man, this is getting me going. But it's not this terribly bombastic song. So I was actually pretty intrigued by how it was making me feel with kind of subdued music, which I thought was really nice.
Yeah, for sure. It's the whole soundtrack. A lot of the songs are pretty short and they don't really overstay their welcome. And I think that's a part of the sound design in most of the Total War games, is that there are kind of delineated modes of campaign, and then formation, deployment, the moments before battle, and then battle, and you get that kind of it kind of rotates through those emotions throughout the entire game, and all of the songs do a great job of building that up and down. I mean, one song that I think is a really good bass line for the campaign is "Beautiful Blade," which has it's a very subtle and simple song, but it's kind of a plodding, picked, I don't know what the name of the instrument is, but it's like a picked string instrument. Just kind of plods along as you're planning your moves and you're planning your campaign year. It's not in your face. It's very background, and the way that this this whole soundtrack goes from kind of in the background, kind of fades away behind you, and then comes to the fore in the more bombastic sounds or songs. I think is a really great indication of a good composer that knows what they're doing.
Yeah, this song's gorgeous. Oh, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah. No, that's fine. I was just going to say, this is one of those songs that plays while you're making those tough decisions. It's the perfect type of mood-setting music where you need something to listen to while you're making what seem like menial tasks. You're making these decisions, you're forming your army, and you're making the battle plans, but you feel like you need something to listen to. But this just really sets that tone for the game. I think there's a real beauty, and I think the last time I mentioned something like that was on
Crusader Kings?
Crusader Kings, yes. Where they've got these moments of the game where you're just making decisions and you're plotting your next move, but the music behind it really just fills the space and is still building that world in a really unique way. And I think this is one of those tracks.
Yeah, this song, filling space is a good way to put it. This song really does fill that space beautifully. It's funny, I was listening to the soundtrack, a little bit yesterday, a little bit today while I was working. And when this song came on, I was kind of focused on like a kind of a menial task, like working on some spreadsheets and doing a proposal for a customer, like boring stuff. And I ended up putting this song on loop, and I probably listened to it, I don't know, probably 8 times in a row, because it's fairly short.
Right.
Yeah.
But it fills that space beautifully, and you can listen to it on a loop while you're doing all of your, tactical board management stuff, while you're deciding what you're going to do with this city or what military units you're going to build here. You can kind of think of it in the background while you're doing all of your political board stuff that you usually do in the Total War games. And it's just really gorgeous. It's great. Yeah.
Now, John, I wanted to ask, since you have quite the history with these games, we have spoken a few times about getting into that flow state, especially during battle. Do you feel that a similar prodding when you're in these huge battles? Do you feel like you're in the zone, and is the music helping with that, or is it not so much a game like this?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you have a lot of it goes through phases, right? You have the deployment, which is a bit more, you're thinking about where you want to set troops and where you want to go and all that. But yeah, the battle is can be a bit more hectic, especially if it's a bigger battle with a lot more units. So yeah, the really bombastic and fast-paced music does, I think, help you stay in that mindset of always looking, zooming in and out, looking for opportunities to flank or send troops around, or if you're getting smashed in one flank, try to relieve. It does help you in that sense to stay alert. Yeah, I think for sure that the some of the songs in this are designed to be like that, like very, very driving, very fast songs. That especially with the drums. I mean, the drums are especially with the battle themes. The drums are the main instrument for most of them.
Yeah, I know. For me, when I think about my history with the Total War series, which surprisingly, I don't know how I just missed the Shogun games. I just didn't play either of them. I played the crap out of Rome Total War and then Total War Rome 2. And I actually have played a good bit of the Warhammer Total Wars as well. And John, just so you know, you're not missing out on much, because I can summarize the issues with those games by just letting you know that Total War Warhammer 3 has 23 paid DLCs that range between $8 and $25 a piece.
So insane.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
That's
a little crazy. And if you look at the Steam reviews on them, the vast majority of the DLCs have either mixed or negative reviews.
Yeah.
And
it's all nothing burgers.
It's crazy. Like if it's not like it's a cheap game. It's a $60 game.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So at any rate,
shell out that much extra.
Yeah, it's brutal. So I played a little bit of that, but really most of my time was spent with Medieval Total War and Rome Total War. And those songs that play, especially for me, the ones that really hit hard are the ones that play while you're lining up your troops in formation at the start of the battle. They're usually really driving, lots of drums, building to sort of a crescendo. And the one that stands out the most to me in that regard is, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, but it's Oi, 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 or
Oh, yeah, that was the one.
Song number 16.
On my list.
It's incredible. Like the beginning, just the battle drums all in unison, and then just slowly building up to the chants, and then it really kicks in after, I don't know, probably like a minute or two. And whew, I can just imagine all of the troops lining up across the battlefield, and you're getting pumped up for this battle.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah, the drums in this entire, I don't know how, because I know he just composed it on through MIDI keyboards, but it just feels so natural, and it feels so real. You can imagine the drummers with those huge Japanese drums just wailing on them, like bunch of drums, people on both sides going crazy, and
just standing off to the side.
It just pumps you up, man. I love it.
Yeah, it's reminiscent of like the horns and the drums that play in Return of the King. When the elephants come out of the fog, and it just your heart just pumps out of your chest. It's incredible.
Incredible
for sure.
Yeah. And that's the feeling I get from that song too. It's just stellar.
Oh, it's gorgeous. It's such a good song. And I can imagine now what you guys are saying, that the pumping up is really that approach to battle. It's not necessarily all the amazing stuff musically that happens during the battle. It's the stuff leading up to it. You're getting ready, and then the gate lifts and you're off to battle. That's definitely something I could feel with this for sure. I mean, this album really has no problem getting you into the action and setting. And I would say even right from the get-go, the soundtrack dives deeply into the Eastern roots. The title theme of Shogun Total War 2 or Total War Shogun 2 gives us a taste of the grandeur of the game itself, with a sweeping introduction with tense violins, ominous horn, and a beautiful singing flute. it changes course about halfway to these drums that we're talking about. And it's very reminiscent of Battlestar Galactica remake. The soundtrack to that show, those drums.
Yeah.
That's just something that caught me. But
it's such a cool theme song because it's like a sampler of all of the styles that you're going to get throughout the entire album. It
kind of goes back and forth between them.
Yeah.
And I definitely like that. It's like, here's the ride you're in for.
Here's the campaign music. Here's some of the tense music. Here's some of the battle music.
It was a nice little sampler song.
Yeah.
It's like a trailer for the soundtrack.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I kind of imagined it being accompanying a trailer, so that actually works.
Well, Jesse stole my oi oi oi. So
I mean, it was on everyone's list.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, come on now.
Freaking amazing. But Ona High is a really good little battle track. It starts out with that kind of driving drums. Yeah, it's just another solid drum track. It really, what is amazing about this soundtrack is with minimal interference of like Western instruments. Most of the sound is produced by some variations of drums, the Japanese strings, and flute, and it's just how he melds those together, and then uses, when he needs to, uses some more like violins or horns to kind of fill out the song here and there. But Ona High has a really great kind of solo Japanese string with the drums behind it, and it's just amazing how differentiating you can get between all these tracks. You can clearly understand which song is which by listening without them all melding together. There's a lot of tracks on this whole soundtrack, and they're all pretty unique as you go through, which is amazing.
Absolutely. And that stringed instrument, I got to figure out the name of that thing because it is so iconic, not only in this album, but I would say Oriental music in general. Yeah. It's just very beautiful guitar-like instrument that really helps build that world out. And it does a stellar job on this soundtrack. I think it's the
koto, actually.
Yeah, there's a few of them. It's probably the koto. There's also the shamisen.
I thought it was
like a banjo. But a koto looks kind of like a lute that you've laid on its side almost, like sort of between a lute and a harp. Yeah, that's the most common one though.
Well, this is just a wonderful soundtrack. Jeff Van Dyck spends a lot of time both inside and outside of battle, and it only services the album as a whole. A game about war could easily be a one-note endeavor, but Van Dyck really spent time crafting and arranging songs that are on the slower end of the spectrum, the darker side and perhaps the more realistic side. There's a real mastery here that he's displaying. It makes an otherwise action-packed game one of very extreme cunning, desperation, and even horror, I would say. There are tracks on here that could be used in a horror movie, and I'm thinking most notably of Hishiriki. That comes to mind. There's a lot of low horns that are swelling in and out. They sound extremely nerve-wracking, building up a lot of tension in that song. But yeah, this album is just a great accompaniment to the game itself and gives it a different life than I was expecting going into it. So
yeah, I for sure wish listed this game on Steam after I listened to the soundtrack. I was like, I don't know how I missed this one, but it's gonna happen.
Yeah. I think listening. So if you had go back and listen to the original Shogun Total War soundtrack, it just is an upgrade in all respects. It's a more mature soundtrack than the original game, and I feel like it. I don't know. I'm not obviously Japanese, but I feel like it does a pretty good job of representing the culture of which it is, which the game is representing. So, it does it in a way that highlights the instruments and the styles that are played, while continuing to be an excellent soundtrack for what is a real-time grand campaign strategy game, which is, I think, tough to do.
It is, for sure. And it's super important, too. I mean, like, especially in the Total War games, like, there's really no dialogue to speak of. There's no story.
Right.
There's no characters. Like, sometimes there's, essentially NPCs talking to you and each other, but that's really it. So the only things that really are there to tie the whole game together are the pieces of sound design, the effects, and the music. And I'll tell you what, in all the other Total War games that I've played, the music is always the thing that stands head and shoulder above everything else. The combat's great, but the music sets the stage and it really keeps you riveted.
Yeah, for sure.
Well done, Jeff Van Dyck.
Yeah. I would say if you're interested in listening to anything else from Jeff Van Dyck, you should definitely check out Unpacking. I don't know if any of you have played that. I picked it up for my kid.
I have.
Oh my God. It's the wildest little game. I got it for the Switch, I think, so that my kids could play it. And it's literally a game about unpacking boxes and setting up a new apartment or house. That's the whole game.
I downloaded it on Xbox Game Pass, so I was like, I'll do this.
I don't even know how this game can possibly be this good for just like killing time and chilling out. But he did the soundtrack for it, and it's awesome. It's so good.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I was telling John when he submitted this to be reviewed, I was like, that Jeff Van Dyck, how do I know that name? And sure enough, I've got a soundtrack, Alien Isolation, that I've been listening to.
Oh, he did Alien Isolation? Seriously?
Yeah, and he won an award for it.
He won a BAFTA for that one.
And then I saw Unpacking on the list. I was like, damn, this guy's everywhere.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But yeah, you can buy the soundtrack and others on Amazon or listen to them on Spotify. If you want to show him some love, go to his website, jeffvandyck.com or Jeff.
K-E, I think, right?
D-Y-C-K.
Oh, no,
it's
right.
CK.
Yeah.
Or Jeff_Van_DYCK on The Bird. I'm not going to call it the other name because screw that.
It's worth mentioning that his wife also does the vocals and songs in several of his soundtracks. So
the last song in this one,
Birds of Time on this soundtrack, which was going to be, if we had to dig up another pick, that was for sure going to be mine.
Yeah.
Her vocals are just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, that is the show, ladies and gentlemen. If you gentlemen would like to say goodbye, please do so.
I'll see you guys on the battlefield.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, we didn't rate it.
Oh, we didn't rate
it.
We
didn't.
What are we doing?
We're a bunch of
very important.
I'll keep all this in here. I'm going to give it, because I couldn't think of anything else, 10 out of 10 Katana.
I got to give it, 10 out of 10 Naginatas.
Yeah,
whatever. Oh, God.
Naginata? That thing. Yeah.
That
the
thing.
Big one. The big thing.
Cool.
This is all staying in there.
I'm going to go 10 out of 10 of whatever the Japanese name for those badass battle drums they use is. I don't know what it is, but it's awesome. So those, 10 out of 10 those.
For sure.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You are getting quality research on this episode.
Yep.
Those big Japanese drums and that guitar thing, that sounds really cool. That's the show. Thank you very much for listening.
See you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. If you liked what you heard, please rate and subscribe. We very much appreciate it. Also visit our brand new website, magusmediaproductions.net, to get all information on every show. See you next time.